Hi, my name's John Arnold, and I want to welcome you to this third video in a series of videos we have put together on navigating grief during the holidays. And I just finished up a little while ago with a couple of folks from our church setting up for our Blue Christmas service, which is Wednesday the 21st at 6 p.m. And if you need an opportunity to just come before God and be in the presence of some other folks who are maybe in a similar space to you, that's a great opportunity to feel a little healing touch in the middle of the holidays and maybe not feel quite as alone, because you may feel like nobody else is feeling like you're feeling. And, well, there are some folks out there who are going through similar things, so you aren't alone. Now, that said, in this video, what I want to do is take a moment to talk about self-care, because it's easy in the holidays to kind of get sucked along into everyone else's expectations and begin to neglect yourself. And there's kind of four main areas we need to look at in terms of self-care. One is emotional, your emotional well-being. What are you doing to emotionally manage things that are coming in at you? And sometimes you just need to give yourself time, or you're going to get surprised by emotions and you have to disrupt and change your schedule. I had something like that happen to me just this last week, and it really took me off guard. I had traveled back to what was my childhood home, where my nephew now lives, in the house that was my mom and dad's house where I grew up. And I got ready to go, and suddenly I had all these memories swell up. And I really kind of needed to get on the road, or felt I did. And I was like, no, I need to take some time. And I kind of moseyed around, and I remembered, and I took things in. And I was in sort of a wistful place, but I was also in a really grateful place. And as I started to drive home, I realized I was going to drive near a cemetery where much of my dad's family is buried, that I've only been to in years past when there have been a couple funerals there. And I thought, you know what? I now have to drive past that because we've moved. I'm going to take time and I'm going to honor those relatives. And I stopped and I got some poinsettias and I decorated those graves on my way home. And you know what? I got home hours after what I planned, but that's what I needed to deal with my own grief. So be sure to give yourself what you need emotionally. And if that means changing your schedule up, so be it. Change your schedule up. You need to take care of yourself physically as well. Now, again, give yourself grace. You may not be able to do all the things that you normally would or want to do. The idea of going out and working out might be absurd. That may be, you may be depressed and not have the energy for that. But doing something as simple as going out for an evening walk, doing something as simple as maybe going out for a drive and a stroll somewhere for a few minutes, just a handful of minutes. Just sort of getting up, getting out, so that you're not physically inactive can make a big difference in how you feel physically. And along the lines of physically, also safeguarding your sleep and your eating habits. I went through a serious depression years ago, and one of the things I had to do was, I called it watch my big four, and that was my sleep, my nutrition, my physical activity, and making sure I didn't isolate, and that I stayed connected to other people. And I did it in simple ways. So make sure that you're being careful about what you eat. It's easy when you're depressed to not eat at all, or to kind of almost medicate by eating comfort food, and there's tons of it during the holidays. So make healthy food choices in as much as you can, and physically you're going to feel better, you're going to sleep better, you're going to think better if you have good fuel in your body. So emotionally and physically, spiritually. So taking opportunities to just draw near to God. In fact, the thing that can most heal us the most deeply is our connection with the Lord, and pouring our hearts out to God and just telling God what's on your heart and mind. In fact, in the Bible, the most common psalm out of 150 psalms, the most common, and the majority of psalms are psalms of lament, where someone is just pouring their heart out before God. And almost every one of those songs ends up turning to hope in the middle. So lament can be something, just telling God where you are and sharing the hurt of your heart can actually lead to a really cathartic moment potentially. So I'd encourage you to draw near to God so God draws near to you. So we mentioned emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally. I think that's really tied closely with emotions. Be careful about the self-talk that you have going on. Take time. One simple thing to do with your mind is to try to come up with 3 things you're grateful for every day. I start my day that way. Every day I look up an inspiring quote and then I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. And it's just a way of kind of putting my feet solidly on the ground and being in a good mental space before I go into the day. So there you have it. I want to encourage you to do whatever you can within reason, with being gentle with yourself, to exercise some good basic self-care. It's going to give you the energy you need to deal with the emotions that overwhelm you and the challenges that come up through the holidays. And last but not least, I just want to remind you we are having a service here on Wednesday the 21st at 6 p.m. Would love for you to come if you're able, and in the Northwest Arkansas area. If this is the first video you have watched, this is the 3rd in a series, and I'm probably going to do a couple more even after Christmas because I think, it's just a hard time and we need these. All right, blessings, and I will see you in the next video.